All right, so we're starting a new tune, My Dream of Love by Ninine Garcia, the composer who also wrote Paquito, great French guitar player, composer. Um, it's kind of a funk song, basically like a jazzy funk thing, very contemporary, very kind of almost George Benson-y, uh, which is really different from what we typically do here, which is swing. That's not a telephone number there. So there's an intro vamp. It's kind of just an E minor. I wrote it in the key of E minor. If we analyze the chords, we have E minor. We'll listen to it in a second. E minor 9 or E minor. Just that ninth flavor. It has a very lush sound. You don't even have to play. You don't have to play the first string. You could just stop here. C major. So basically, if we're in the key of E minor, that can also be thought of typically as G major. E minor would be the relative. We're in jazz, E minor can also mean Dorian, but in this case, we're actually in the natural minor. So just so there's no confusion, not even the harmonic minor scale, just E minor, natural minor, which modally would be called Aeolian mode. All right, so let's see here. We've got the E minor and then the C major. C major again is in the key of G. It's a 4 chord, but if you're thinking E minor, it's the flat 6 major. So E minor is the 1. C major 7 is the flat 6 major. Okay. The 5 chord, by the way, just so you know, which it doesn't go to in the vamp, is B7. Well, that would be the harmonic minor. B minor would be the chord if you're in a modal, in the key of E Aeolian. But later on, we'll have this tritone subchord and stuff. We'll talk about that. So the vamp, though, this. That, and I'm just kind of doing my own little funk thing there. I'm not necessarily playing it exactly as written or exactly like the recording. But we'll talk about that in a second. That's just, again, the 1 to the flat 6 major. And then for the A section, it continues 1 flat 6 major, and then it'll go to the 4 chord A minor, little walk down. A minor basically is like C major, right? We're going to actually be thinking C major ideas on the A minor in a second here. And then back to the E minor, back to the 1. So it's like a lot of the same stuff essentially. And then it goes to the C sharp dim. The C sharp dim, of course, the diminish is always a substitute for a dominant chord. And we'll talk about which one in a second. And then I'll just tell you right now, it's for F sharp 7. Okay, it's a 2 dominant. It's like it's going to go the 5 of the 5 essentially. And then the B7, this is a B9 sus 4, which should be played typically by guitar players like this. A/B. You can call this chord here A triad /B. It's a sus, has a 9, so it's not technically a dominant yet because there's no, it doesn't resolve. And then F13. It's a beautiful, beautiful color. Tritone. So F7 is the tritone sub of B, this sound. Okay. And then of course it leads us to E minor. So that's kind of the theory breakdown of it. It's not a very complicated song at all, theoretically. And that's also why I passed out kind of the E minor pentatonic study to make sure that this is a good study to learn your E minor penta and blues scale all over your fretboard. So you can have a lot of fun just jamming out, getting bluesy and playing your penta licks, because that's kind of the overall flavor. So that's the quick analysis of it. We can talk about the rhythm. I'll just go ahead and do that. I'll keep it recording right now. We got kind of a 16th note feel, slow funk. there's that stop time right here. Basically, I was just playing it as written here. And let's talk about the strum pattern. 1E and a 2 and up. You can have variation. I put these little mutes here. If you were to mute it, that's when you'd kind of just lift up off the strings. So you get more of a percussion. 1E and a 2 and up. And I even went so far as to go down, up, down, up, down, down, up. Okay. And then there's a lot of syncopation. And on 16th notes, it would sound like... So those upstrokes, that's where the syncopation is created. And then I went 4E and a 1. So it's just a 1-bar pattern. And the main thing, 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a 1E and a 2. The main thing is to keep the 16th notes going down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, really evenly. Da 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 da. And you could just do downstrokes too, like this. Those are the 8th notes, 1 and 2. So to me, the main subdivision, if playing 16th notes is newer for you, especially coming from, swing, is to start with 8th notes, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, as all downstrokes, 1 and 2 and notice I'm just muting the strings, no chord. This is just to be a drummer. And then you can start to zero in on the 16th notes, 1E and a 2 and 1E and a 2. And now it's just that much da 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 da. And then this upstroke, and that's the pattern for the first measure, and that's the pattern you kind of want to continue throughout. I mean, it might be slightly different from player to player, of course. Every player kind of has their own 16th note favorite funk patterns. So basically for this, and we'll listen to it in a second, you want to do that stop time here on this E minor 9. And then the main melody, I'm just going to keep going here, and then I'll stop it and answer questions. The main melody is actually kind of like more of a riff. It's all harmonics on the 7th fret. These are called natural harmonics as opposed to artificial. If that's new for you, you just lightly touch over the fret right on the metal. And you just bar across, in this case, 7, 7, 7, 7, 7. And that's how you'll see it notated with a diamond around it. And then this high note there. And I'm approximating his rhythm. He's actually like on the and of 2. I just put it on 3 to simplify. Again, that's where I said it's kind of my own arrangement of it. 1, 2, triplet, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, triplet. So, by the way, that was a 5th fret harmonic there. And again, listen to this. That one's tricky to get. He doesn't always get it on the recording. It can really leap out at you if you want it. And then, and it's even notated here with the notes, B, E, A. Those are the true notes that you're hearing an octave higher. For the ukulele, because you can't achieve these harmonics, it's not the same notes if you put your finger on the 7th fret, I actually wrote it out as single notes so that the uke players, if they're playing along with these triplet arpeggios, you'd be playing it as a fretted notes, and that would sound cool. If you're playing piano, you would probably play it as, notes. So, it could be thought of as a melodic. You're actually hearing notes, even though we think of it as guitar players as harmonics. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, triplet. And that's an E, 2, 3, 4. And the chords are shifting underneath. hear him measure 10. 1, 2, triplet, triplet. That one didn't come out. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. You'll hear it in a second here once with the actual recording. It sounds really cool. And that's where the band, or in this case the chord, is going. That's just a little chromatic walk down. If you're in the key of G major, the B minor is the 3, but if you're in E minor, that's the 5. 5, flat 5. And now we're on the 4 chord of E minor. So basically you just say the B section goes to A minor, the 4. 4 back to the 1. And there's that riff. Lots of harmonics. That's kind of what it's all about. It's a fun little study on natural harmonics. We'll play along the melody in a second. Again, I'm calling it a melody. But if you take it into the B section, you have pickup notes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 12, 7, 5. 1, 2, 12, 7, 5. So that figure, 12, 7, 5, 12, 7, 5, 12, 7, 5, on beat 3, 4, 1, happens 3 times, and then 12, 7, 12 on the last time. Did I do that? Yeah. I hope I did. Yeah, that's right. Back to the E minor. I think I did that right. Maybe this is supposed to be a 5. I better check. That might be a 5. I might have to fix that. And then right here, and 1. This is where the pattern changes, and it goes into the C sharp dim chord, which is a sound, which is F sharp 7, flat 9. Again, that's a substitution. The real chord would just be thought of as F sharp, but he's really subbing out and using that as his chord. And again, that was. And then on the 7th fret, 3, 4. And that's for the B9 sus4, which you can also label as A over B. A major triad over the B bass note. And then the F13. Tritone sub. Get that dissonant. Back to the top. And it actually does repeat through the whole form before solos. So you would actually go A, B, A, B. That's the form of it. I think this is an error right here. I'm going to change that to 5, but we'll double check in a second.